It's a real pleasure to be with you this morning. So thank you for inviting me. During the next 45 minutes, we will cover these topics. So first, I will go through circular design principles, and then we'll talk about current status and activities, both kind of national, regional level, but also I will share some examples from industry-specific activities and initiatives. Then some best practices, and I will summarize by going through different key success factors, and then we will have time for discussion. A little bit about myself and my company, Ethica. So just to put everything that I will talk with you in a context, what you can see here in this slide is Ethica's mission. So we really want to inspire and guide entire industries to succeed in a regenerative circular economy. We've been doing this since 2013. So basically kind of the entire time that circular economy emerged as a business concept, not just in academic circles. And we have a team of highly skilled experts. We have architects, we have designers, we have engineers, we have business strategists in our team, so that we can be the kind of one-stop shop for all circular economy strategy needs, roadmap needs, or R&D needs. And this is basically how we work with businesses, so that we can work with executive teams to develop the company level revenue logic and roadmaps, or we work with R&D teams to develop the concrete circular offering. What should the product look like? What features should it entail? And what kind of the circular design guidelines for the entire R&D team be? At the top left-hand corner, you can see Paula Fontel, my co-founder of the company. And really our journey started in 2014, 1 year after we had set up the company, when we embarked on a really almost 3-year development project together with VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. We modeled and piloted a closed loop system for textiles with a group of companies. And imagine this was in 2014, so it was pretty pioneer work because nobody had done it before, and we really literally had to find out that, okay, how are we going to do it step by step? So as you can see from this model, that's the textile sector is not yet operating according to this model, so there remains a lot of work to be done. And I'm sure that you in your respective countries are doing work that take us every day a bit closer to the economic model that is called circular economy. In addition to consultancy work with Ethica, I'm also finalizing my book, which is called Circular Strategies for Success, and it will come out in March. And here you can see our offering, so circular business strategies, circular product service design, and also we've done a lot of circular business ecosystem projects. But now it's time to go to the first actual topic, which is circular design principles. And this is actually the only kind of theory part of the webinar. So everything else will be case examples describing what we've done so far in Finland. And also this part is very light, so bear with me. What you can see here in this picture is circular design framework. And this is something that we started developing long ago, because when we have the circular economy principles, But when you start kind of bringing those principles into your business, you need a framework, you need a solid approach how to start implementing circularity across the business and across different business units and operations. So what you can see here is the visualization of that framework, and it covers business design, product design, service design. And then the fourth part of this framework is the fact that we need to align all these three aforementioned methods or design practices according to natural ecosystems. But let me elaborate a bit more on this framework. So if we first look at this framework in terms of numbers, now we know that a circular economy as a business model would generate a massive amount of savings. According to the European Commission, it could yield annual savings of 600 billion. Now that is a lot of money that could be saved each year. And then in addition, it could generate 1.8 trillion euros of additional economic benefits through different circular business models, through virgin raw material savings, for example. When we look at it from the product design perspective, equally, European Commission has stated that around 80% of products' environmental impact is determined at design stage, which, as you all know, places a massive need to change how we design our products in a far more circular way. When we think about service design, and these figures are from global consumer studies from 2023, a massive majority, 76%, of people said that they want companies to design more responsible and environmentally friendly products. So it is evident that people want to have circular products. However, companies also need to change their offering accordingly to be able to provide far more compelling and attractive circular solutions to them. And lastly, but definitely not least, the need that we start doing business, developing our operations, designing our municipalities, cities, our societies according to circular principles is the fact that when we think about planetary boundaries, which is the framework that is kind of all the time more widely used, also by business people, not just scientists, we've already transgressed 6 out of 9 planetary boundaries. So we are kind of entering this territory of unknown where all kinds of negative changes might accelerate exponentially. We can, however, through different design methods, we can reverse this trend. Ozone layer is a really good example of that. Some of you might remember that Montreal Protocol was created in 1986 to ban all harmful chemicals that had caused the ozone layer tear. And now the ozone layer is healing, and according to estimates, it should be healed by 2050 completely. So this is a good example, and it's a good news that through different circular design methods, we can reverse the negative impact and the negative trend that we have already created. Now, in terms of a bit more content, what do we mean by business? So when we talk about business design, we, of course, talk about these different strategic choices through which the company wants to grow in a sustainable way. And we need to really understand that how circularity is either a foundation for the entire strategy or is embedded in that business strategy. Also for the business to reap the best kind of benefits of the circular thinking. And of course, it's not just about strategy, but it's also about changing your business model. And the other thing is that I find really important is building internal capacity and actually like building circular culture across the organization. And of course, thirdly, it's about developing a supply chain into a circular value chain. So this is kind of the business corner of the circular design framework. Now, when we talk about service, and this kind of combines tools from service design and also behavioral economics, it is really about understanding that what kind of forces, these so-called four forces, pains, gains, anxieties, and comforts, but what impacts your customers? How can you start nudging their behavior so that they would start choosing circular solutions instead of linear ones? How can you invite them with you so that you would rather kind of ease them into circular ways of behaving and consuming rather than trying to push them into it? And of course, it's also about reframing the customer's role. So in the linear world, we always see the customer as a buyer, whether it's a B2C or B2B. But in a circular world, we start seeing the customer also as a user and caretaker. Also, a term called prosumer is used widely. And lastly, it's about understanding that, okay, what does your customer really try to achieve? And you might be familiar with this jobs to be done framework, which is widely used in kind of business tools, but we've actually brought it into a circular context to be able to really kind of integrate the circular solution into your innovation process, and also aligning it with what you know about your customers and how can you listen to your customer and really understand their needs. And then on the product side, when we talk about circular product design, of course, it is starting from the fact that you need to understand and design the product's entire journey instead of just designing one single product. So starting from the journey, but then also using circular or regenerative materials instead of linear materials or chemicals which are not life-friendly and which actually hinder safe circulation of your product. And of course, then it's about developing product features, whether it's about repairability, modularity, or opportunities for remanufacturing. So using all these various approaches to make sure that your product is 100% designed according to circular principles. And when you bring all these different corners, business, product, and service together, you kind of ensure that you've covered all aspects of circularity. Of course, you can't do everything at once, but you know where you're going. You can set your vision, goals, and KPIs and start working so that you iterate between these three corners. So this is essentially what circular design framework and kind of circular design principles are. So kind of using these three corners, iterating between them. And then when we talk about those dotted lines, natural ecosystems, we need to acknowledge the fact that nature has its own laws. they won't change. We can't control the nature, although we've really hard tried to do so during the past 100 or 200 years. So we need to find ways how can we align our business according to nature's laws and according those natural ecosystems, so that we can, a bit by bit, we can start thinking what is called a positive strategy. So instead of just minimizing our negative impact, can we create something that actually improves, restores, and regenerates natural ecosystems? And why this is so important is because without natural resources and the health of natural ecosystems, there's no business, there's no operations. Our societies could not thrive without natural resources. So making sure that we aim to improve, restore, and regenerate, we're actually making sure that we have a solid foundation to continue our daily life, our businesses, developing our societies in a circular and sustainable way. But hey, now we've covered the theory part, so let's go to current status and activities. And first, we will cover regional and national activities. Let's set the scene first. So what you can see here is the Finland Circular Economy Program. And this is something like 10 years ago, we created the first roadmap. It was still very high level, but 2020, the Ministry of the Environment, together with other ministries, came out with the program with concrete targets. This is the first concrete target. So we try to minimize the primary raw materials consumption. And as you can see from the target, that 2015 is our baseline year, and 2035 is the target year. Secondly, we will aim to improve our resource productivity so that it would double by 2035. So basically doing more with less and being far more resource efficient in what we do. And then the third one is the circular material use rate. I'm sure this indicator CMU is familiar to you. It's something that the EU is monitoring, and we have a target of doubling it by 2035. And even if we double it, we won't be a circular society, because Finland's circular material use rate is rather low, around 7%, which is under the EU average. So we really need to work hard on all these sectors. But basically, what's so great about this program that it gives us the direction, it gives us concrete targets, which each sector can work on. And now we actually start from the first case example, which is a circular design sprint. And here you can see a snapshot of our circular design sprint that was run together with University of Applied Sciences. And this is something that, as part of the operations and projects, Lab really wanted to engage with regional companies. And of course, organizing a circular design sprint, which essentially is like a 3-day business development program, is a really concrete way of doing it. So Here you can see some pictures. On the left-hand side, we first had an open event to anyone interested in circular activities in the region. So it was more about awareness raising and also educating and inspiring companies to take part in the sprint. And then we ran sprints with 3 regional companies from various sectors. And what is really unique about the sprint, circular design sprint, is that everything we do at sprint is about their own business operations. So it's not like a training program of something else, but at the same time, they do learn about circular economy principles, circular design, but all these canvases that you can see, for example, here, are focusing on their own business. So on the left-hand side, the value, the circular life cycle canvas is something that is like our basic, very basic tool that we use in all sprints. And then on the right-hand side, you can see like service blueprint. Then at the bottom, this is like the towards circular business canvas. It's the kind of end result of all ideas that has been generated throughout the sprint. So this is very concrete way of engaging with your regional companies and sort of supporting their competitive advantages. And also it's a very compact way of learning about circularity from the perspective of your own business. Another regional activity, so this was the previous sprint was done with the university, and this was done with the Oulu. So you might have visited Oulu, which is a northern city in Finland, and they have Business Oulu, which is the regional business development organization. And once again, they wanted to support the region's businesses through a circular design sprint. And we organized a sprint together with them. We had 10 different companies. So we used this kind of a multi-company approach to run the sprint. Businesses varied from waste management company to software companies, but we developed the approach so that everybody benefits and is able to focus, as I mentioned earlier, in their own business. On the right-hand side, you can see like a basic structure. Usually we run a kickoff webinar, then there's a one-to-one current state kind of a meeting together with the company. Then the first workshop day is about understanding a big picture. And when we kind of think about, for example, the EU legislation supporting circularity, we need to also understand not just the big picture, how the kind of system level works, but also understand much more about the forthcoming EU legislation. And then the second day is about ideation, generating ideas for your own business. And then on the third day, we kind of refine and define those ideas and kind of plan and design next steps, how the company will continue their circular journey after the sprint. And then we have Finland's circular design program. And this was the first national circular design program in the entire world. And it was funded by the Ministry of the Environment. And as you can see, there were many partners running and executing the program. So there was a really, we wanted to have like a multi-stakeholder approach, and the program attracted 50 Finnish companies, and we really had a broad church. So we had some multinational companies, and equally we had micro companies across different sectors. We had 10 different sectors in the program, and as mentioned, 50 companies. This was a 1-year-long program, And we had events, we provided podcasts, which were kind of available to all of them. And of course, then we ran workshops with them. All the workshops were online because we were planning and designing the program during the pandemic, so we couldn't know whether the world will ever be the same. But we also had some physical events at the beginning and at the end of the program. We also created a very holistic online learning environment. So that was like a home base to all companies to get some homework, know about the forthcoming workshop agenda, download the workshop templates, and have discussion amongst peers, but also with the facilitators. So the online environment really supported what was done in the workshops. And together with podcasts, it provided a very kind of holistic journey for the entire year. The one thing that I really want to highlight in this program is the approach that was chosen. So what you can see here is something that we call a tube map, because it looks a bit like a tube map, basically. But we wanted to provide two tracks, two learning paths for different people in companies. At the top, you can see learning path for company executives. So it was really for board members, investors, company owners, and the entire executive team. And there, the kind of topics were slightly different. So talking much more about how can company grow in a sustainable way, whereas the bottom learning path was about much more concrete tools for R&D people, marketing people. So anyone who is involved in those concrete operations of the company. And in this way, we could ensure that the participants started to create shared understanding of their circular approach across the company. And then another national activity is an online course, Circular Design for Business online course, which was developed by Design Forum Finland. Now you can see here, there are 7 different topics or themes covering very holistically different aspects of circular design. And each of these themes contains 2 to 3 modules. So all in all, it's a very comprehensive package and a journey to start learning, applying and implementing circularity into one's own design work. This one is in Finnish, and I hope there will be a translation in English. I do not know, but I hope so. So you could all take part in this course. It consists of videos, short interviews, case studies, and of course theory, and it's all in a very kind of engaging way. There are quizzes, there are templates for your use. So it's a very kind of attractive offering, and it's free of charge. But now let's move on to industry-specific activities. What you can see here is 2 playbooks. Now, I don't know whether in your respective countries, circular economy playbooks is something that has been kind of done a lot, but at least in Finland, there was like a trend for some years to produce these playbooks. And I think it's quite nice approach and quite nice trend, because when I talk about playbooks, essentially all these playbooks provide not just facts and figures and kind of way to learn the circular economy principles, but they also provide a lot of tools. So they really try to kind of promote the implementation and not just like a traditional report. So I think that this playbook form is really something to recommend. You can see here two examples. So on the left-hand side, Finnish Commerce Federation Circular Economy Playbook. And then on the right-hand side, you can see a playbook for chemical industry. And since I was involved in the Finnish Commerce Federation playbook, I can tell you a little bit about the process, how we were really engaging with the entire sector. So we held workshops with retailers and companies and really engage with them to see and to kind of test the waters with them that, okay, how do you see circularity? What the biggest bottlenecks are? This is what we have sketched as a circular vision for the retail sector. How does this sound to you? What is it missing? What would you tweak in it? So the series of workshops, in addition to interviews, expert interviews, were conducted during the playbook process. There were also various ministries involved, so Ministry of the Employment and Economic Affairs, Ministry of the Environment, and of course then the Finnish Commerce Federation itself. Some other organizations such as textile and fashion were also involved. So we really used this multi-stakeholder approach and of course really wanted to listen carefully what the sector itself is saying. And it was really great to see that we had like a full house in workshops. So circularity is something that they really wanted to not just understand, but also start connecting with each other to start creating circular value chains in the future. And then here's another roadmap. So technology industries of Finland, or this is a roadmap. The previous ones were playbooks, but this is a roadmap. So it's a slightly different type of example. But technology industries of Finland created this roadmap a couple of years ago. And you can see here kind of one slider of that roadmap. You can see the focus areas on the left-hand side, consisting of material flows, innovations, new business models, and ecosystem solutions. And then on the right-hand side, once again, you can see the objectives, which very much are aligned. If you still remember the first slide, Finland's national program targets. So it's very much aligned with what has been stated in the national program. And I think this is great work, what's been done by technology industries in Finland, because it really kind of provides a very solid foundation. Of course, the report itself is much more kind of holistic and extensive of what you can see here, but it also provides these very concrete objectives and a direction for technology companies in Finland. And now let's move on to some of the best practices. What you can see here is one Finnish company called Mirka. And the first kind of best practice that I wanted to share with you is the innovation approach that we very much harness in Finland. And I wanted to showcase Mirka's case example because it very much captures the innovation approach that has been widely used and implemented in Finland in our circularity work. So Mirka is a power tool company with global operations, and they got a substantial funding from Business Finland to start creating what is called shape ecosystem. And you can see the 4 focus areas, so sustainable materials, boosting circularity, repair, refurbishment, remanufacture, and intelligence throughout value chains. So they're not just turning around and really going circular as a company, but they want to create this entire value chain and ecosystem around them. So focusing on new innovations and not just the recycling part, I think it's one of the kind of key factors here in Finland. And Mirka provides a great example. And one of the kind of massive investments is a it's a factory that they are building at the moment, and it's a totally remanufacturing factory. So they will be using their side streams of the industry, and that factory will be using only those side streams as raw material. So I think that is it's really unique, and I think it's a great example of a company that kind of goes circular in a very strategic way. Then the next kind of key factor and success factor in a way in Finland, or best practice that we've done in Finland, is the multi-stakeholder approach. This is one example. I already mentioned the National Circular Economy Program of Finland, and this Green Deal is part of the national program. It's led by the Ministry of the Environment, and basically it means that this Green Deal is bringing together different actors, businesses, regions, cities, industry associations, to make a voluntary commitment towards circularity and commitment to reduce their emissions. So, and this is very typical for Finnish circular work, that different parties are brought together to discuss and develop common objectives and develop a roadmap and program. So multi-stakeholder approach is something that I very much see as a best practice in Finland. And then a third best practice in Finland is education. Now, this is a screenshot of a Novia University of Applied Sciences master's program on circular design. They started it a couple of years ago, and I would say that it is pretty unique to provide the entire program on circular design. And you can see different subjects there: competence for circular construction, design and society, material science, and so on and so forth. So educating and making sure that the future leaders, designers, and decision makers are fully knowledgeable about circular design is really key. And we've been doing this education work at different levels, from primary school to high school, and providing and adding courses in universities and also in vocational schools. So to really summarize kind of key success factors that I see in Finland is this. So when we talk about circular economy, the focus has very much been on circular design. And of course, this is what your EU project also is about. But what I see a lot and have been seeing over the past decade when working as a circular design and circular economy expert is that a lot of countries have been focusing on recycling rather than kind of going to the beginning of the entire kind of pipeline or operations. So trying to solve kind of how to deal with the waste in a more efficient and effective way, rather than thinking about how could we avoid these problems in the first place through different design. Now, of course, Finland also started from recycling. So when we first created or we kind of started developing the activities and we got the first roadmap, the focus was much more on recycling. I have to acknowledge that. But then over the past years, the conversation and activities and the focus has shifted on circular design. So how can we do business in a circular way? How can we develop products and design products in a circular way? How can we provide services and sort of bring them into the equation? And how can we, at system level, design our societies, our cities in a circular way? And I think that's definitely one of the key success factors in Finland and in our circular work. Then the next one is kind of creating circular activities across industries and actors. So I call it like creating a circular culture so that it becomes like a new norm, no matter where you work or how you operate, but you start seeing circularity as a new norm rather than just something that someone does in the society, but it's kind of embedded at all levels of the society. And lastly, innovation and education. I think it all starts from understanding circularity principles and how you can start developing those and taking them into your processes wherever you work. And of course, implementing them and starting to innovate through that circular economy and circular design lens. So basically, this is kind of to summarize the key success factors in Finland. Focus on circular design, circular culture, innovation, and education. So very quickly, before we go into discussion, I'll stop screen share. There are two QR codes if you want to scan them. So the other one takes to my book, and the other one, we are organizing a circular design sprint. So a very brief moment of promotion.